Alright, what's going on, guys? My name is Mason Sliger, and today I'll be walking you through a rent versus own analysis of a personal residence. Alright, so here, highlighted in yellow, we have our actual project assumptions broken up into two different tables, the property information and the loan information. So these are going to be the numbers that we're pulling to create the entire rest of the spreadsheet here. As you might notice, there is one missing, however, so we're going to go ahead and fix that up. The loan amount is going to be equal to the purchase price times the loan to value ratio. So let's go ahead and do that. Times the loan to value ratio, and we should get $200,000. Alright, so now we have all of our project assumptions. Excuse me. We're going to go ahead and get started with the rest of it. Down here, the annual debt service payment, all we really need to do is create a payment function. Alright, and so we're going to take our interest rate divided by 12 payments per year. Then we're going to take our loan terms per year times our 12 payments per year. We're going to throw in the loan amount. Right, and then multiply all of that by negative 12. And we're doing that because up here, all of this information is monthly. However, we need it annually down here, so we're going to multiply by 12. And we're doing the negative just so it'll come out as a positive number in our spreadsheet here. Alright, so that looks about right. Next, we got the annual loan constant. For this, all we have to do is take the annual debt service and divide it by the loan amount. So, annual debt service divided by $200,000, our loan amount. We got 6.44%. Alright, and last in this table, we got the equity investment. So that's going to be the purchase price minus the loan amount. That's pretty straightforward. Minus our loan amount over here should get $50,000. Alright, perfect. Alright. So, now we have our summary loan schedule. Alright, so we'll start with the payment here, which we've already created actually. We're just going to bring it down from the table right above, our annual debt service payment. Alright, and then if we take this and lock it in place, we are then able to drag it all the way across, and it should be the same number. Perfect. Alright, so next we're going to take our interest. Alright, this is going to be kind of a larger equation here, so I'll walk you through all of it. Do a cumulative payment function. Alright, so we'll start with the rate, which is the interest rate divided by payments per year. So, divided by payments per year. Next, we're going to do the loan term times the payments per year, just like we did in the last one. Payments per year. Alright, next we have our loan amount, $200,000. The difference between this equation and the last one is we actually need to put in a time frame for them because it's cumulative. So our start period, we're going to start at month 1, and we're going to end with month 12. Alright, and then the last thing we need here, we're just going to put in type 0. Alright, so let's see what that gives us. Alright, actually we need to take that equation and multiply it by negative 1, just to make everything look right. Okay, perfect. So now we have to lock everything in place. We have to do this so Excel knows not to pull from the cell next to it every time it's going over, but to stay pulling from this exact same cell. Alright, so we have that. Pull it across. Okay, so as you can see, we got the same number every time here. And we don't want that because this is a cumulative payment. So what we actually have to go in and do, this is correct because it is actually taking from month 1 through 12, but in year 2, we're actually pulling from month 13 through 24. So we need to go in and fix that. 24. Okay, so that number changed. We're going to have to do the same thing for everything, for every year here, excuse me. So the next one will be 25 to 36. Next one will be 37 to 48. Excuse me. 48. Okay, last but not least, next one's going to be 49 to 60. Sounds about right to me. Perfect. Alright, so now as you can see, it's going to slowly go down every year, and that's what we want. Alright, so next we're going to calculate the principal. principal is just going to be the payment minus interest. All right, so let's do payment minus our interest here. Okay, perfect. So that equation's in there. We should be able to pull that equation all the way across, and it'll do the same thing using data from all of these. All right, next we want to do our balance. So that's going to be our initial loan amount, $200,000, minus the principal here. All right, so loan amount minus principal. Perfect. All right, so that's about everything that we need from the summary loan schedule. We'll be coming back to that later as well. All right, now for the property data. We're going to start with the property value. All right, for year 0, all we really need is the initial purchase price. All right, so we're going to pull from up top here the original purchase price of $250,000. Okay, so for year 1, we're going to do that exact same thing, except now you have to incorporate the property growth rate. So what we're going to do is multiply that by 1 plus our property growth rate, which is 3%. All right, so that's about right. All we have to do now is lock this down because we don't want this equation, or excuse me, this quantity to change. And then you'll be able to drag it across, and it should be pulling. Oops, well, I didn't. Let's see. Pull all the way across. All right, that should do it right there. Pull it all the way across. All right, that looks right. So we're gonna do basically the same thing for the rent. However, you can't rent anything at year 0. So we'll start at year 1 with this. We're just gonna be pulling the initial rent. If you look up top, was $1,600. All right, and then same deal here. We're gonna be pulling from here times 1. Oops. Times 1 plus the rental growth rate, which also happens to be 3%, but it's a different cell. So we'll close that up, go back in, and lock down that value. And as you can see, that number has changed, and it should continue to change through year 5. Okay, perfect. All right, the next table we want to look at is the before tax cash flows of the owner. All right, so here at property taxes, all we really need to do is multiply the initial purchase price times the property tax. That is one of our given assumptions. So just put in a little equation here. We can use this number right here actually because we just pulled that down from the top. That's our initial purchase price. And then we're going to multiply that by the property tax percentage, which is 2% right here. Perfect. All right, so we want to enter that. I'm going to go in here and lock this quantity down so we can pull across. Right, and we'll do that through year 5, get all of our numbers. Perfect. All right, so insurance, we're going to pull the given insurance from the property info, and then during the second year, we're going to have to include the expense growth rate. All right, so I'll show you what I'm talking about here. We'll pull from up top. Our insurance was $1,000, okay? Excuse me. So for the very first year, it's just going to be $1,000. However, here, we're going to have to use that $1,000 and then multiply it by 1 plus the expense growth rate, which is 3%. Okay, so we're going to close that one up, go back in and lock it up as always. Okay, and then that number should fluctuate through year 5, going up every year. Okay, perfect. All right, so maintenance is essentially the same deal, just different numbers. So we're going to pull our maintenance assumption of $2,500, enter that. For year 2, we're just going to pull that same number times 1 plus our expense growth rate of 3% again. Okay, gotta go back in and lock it up. Perfect. We should be able to pull those across as well. Fantastic. All right. For the principal and interest, all we're going to do here is the interest plus the principal from summary loan schedule from earlier. All right, so yeah, so here are these two quantities. We're just going to do equals this plus this. Okay, that number should be able to drag across. As you might already know, the interest and the principal. Yeah, the interest and the principal is going to be the same as the payment every year, right? It's just changed in its composition. So the principal will be going up every year. The interest will be going down every year, but it's still going to equal 12,883. All right, so we got all that. Last on this table, the cash outflows before taxes is literally just going to be a sum of the four numbers that we just created. All right, so we're going to do a sum of 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so we got 21,383, and we're going to pull that across, and it's going to be pulling sums of every year after that. All right, so the next step is the tax deduction from owning. All right, so we'll look here. The property taxes is something we've actually already made. If you just scroll up, we have created that in the previous table, the before tax cash flows. We're literally just going to take all of these quantities right here. So equals property taxes. And we should be able to drag that across and get the exact same numbers. So all of these, perfect. All right. So for interest, we've already created that as well. So we're going to pull that from the summary loan schedule we created a while ago. Perfect, yes, right here. Interest, oops, yep. Should be able to pull that across. Perfect. All right, the total tax deductions is the property taxes plus the interest. All right, so we're just going to do this plus the number right below it. This is about 15,000. Pull those all the way across. And then last in this table is the total, or excuse me, the tax savings. So this is going to be equal to the total tax deductions times our marginal tax rate that was given to us at the top. All right, so let's go ahead and put that in. Total tax deductions times our marginal tax rate is 28%. All right, so let's do that. We're going to go in and make sure we lock down that percent so it doesn't move every time. All right, pull that across. We'll get a different number every time. That's perfect.